All right, everyone. So we have another video here from SeththeProgrammer that we're going to be watching called Every Saiyan from Weakest to Strongest. Now, we've seen other videos from him where he ranks characters from weakest to strongest, but we've never seen the one for Dragon Ball, specifically for Saiyan. So this isn't going to include Namekians, whatever clan Frieza is, or, you know, Majin Buu, or any of those other characters. This is strictly Saiyans from weakest to strongest. Now, when it comes to the strongest, I think it's kind of obvious who's going to be at the top of the list. You've got Goku, Vegeta are going to be 1 and 2. Where he puts, where he puts them, I don't know. Although I get the feeling it's probably going to be Goku at number 1. Now, this video was released in 2020, so it's not going to, I'm guessing, include the information from the manga that we have recently with the Granola arc, and especially the most recent Dragon Ball movie, Dragon Ball Super Superhero, where, let's say, it adds to the conversation here of like who's the strongest Saiyan, especially when it comes to Goku and Vegeta. I won't go too much into detail, but let's just say something happens with a certain character in the most recent movie that could, let's say, change the conversation as to who might be the strongest Saiyan, or at the very least it starts up that debate again. So we're gonna go ahead and watch the video, and before we do, guys, as always, I do have to ask you, if you wish to support the channel, consider leaving a like, share this video out there, subscribe if you're new, and of course I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I can't thank you guys enough for your support, and I hope you will continue to support me in the future. And if you are subscribed, just make sure to click on the bell icon, because that way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video, because YouTube's notification system is still kind of broken. And comment down below with your thoughts, as well as any recommendations you may have. If you want me to react to a video that's out there and give my thoughts on it, just let me know about it in the comments and I will get to it. And make sure to check the description for links to this video as well as Seth's channel, so you can head on over there and subscribe and go show him some support. And do that with every other content creator we watch here. So let's go ahead and play the video.
Hello everyone, it's your host, SeththeProgrammer, and in this video we're finally coming back to Dragon Ball.
And also, just one more time, let me say it. I know some of you guys out there are maybe a little bit annoyed with the fact that the audio is low, but I think you'll probably understand that this is Dragon Ball, and considering what Toei pretty recently did or tried to do when it comes to abusing a certain feature that YouTube has, I think you'll understand why I'll be a little bit extra careful when it comes to anything from Toei. So
now, I made a few Dragon Ball filler videos here or there, but I haven't
especially since I can hear the music in the background. Yeah,
made a genuine Dragon Ball video in almost over a year now, but I thought this one would be really interesting, this being ranking every Saiyan from weakest to strongest. A lot of people see this and go, well, that's easy, but it's more complicated than you think, especially as a YouTuber who has to present the information while triggering the least amount of people. Super Buu Gohan Absorbed or Super Saiyan 2 Kabe, you'd be surprised how split people are on that. What about Kefla versus Fusion Zamasu? What about Ultra Instinct Goku versus Broly? What about Raditz versus the Phantom Saiyans? How does Future Trunks stack up against Universe 6? It's really not so
I think we can leave those filler characters out. I mean, I don't think they need to be included.
Drive, especially for a lot of people. So granted, this video will be bombarded with dislikes, but if you do like videos like this, I'd seriously appreciate a like regardless of your opinion. Also, if you're new here or haven't done so already, I'd consider subscribing as well. It means a lot. Thank you. For this video, we're going to kind of put characters in classes for the most part, because it's hard to put an objective value on some things in the series, but since it's my job, I'll be giving my best shot. We'll also only be using one version of each character for this video. An example, only using Super Broly and no Z Broly, etc. We'll also
understandable
not be including GT or the video games, as I don't want any Super versus GT or video game debates for this video. It's already going to be long enough and honestly as toxic as it is. So in Class I, we have the 3 weakest Saiyans at 37, 36, and 35, which are Turles, Beats, and Gine. These 3 are generally considered weak and non-combative Saiyans, especially Beats, who has a power level weaker than Baby Broly at 920, with Gine having some combat experience in the past, being constantly saved saved by Bardock, and Turles being sent off to conquer a planet in the hopes he could prove himself to be a combatant type later. Turles is a strange one because he could be much higher if you think he actually battled Abo and Kato rather than just foiled some of their plans and simply escaped from them somehow. It's hard to say due to how vague it is, but I'll point out where Turles could be if he actually did fight them and survive when that place comes. Otherwise, he's pretty bare bones. Allegedly in Chosenshu 4, Character Dictionary 2, it stated that Turles tried to stand up to them, but because he was no match, he went to his brother for help. So an argument that he should be higher is probably very strong, and he simply...
Which, by the way, if you haven't seen this, I think it's a TV special, yeah. I forget what it's called. It's like Dragon Ball Goku's friends. I forget what it's called, but if you haven't seen it, I do highly recommend it. It's actually pretty it's pretty fun. It's really enjoyable. It's not too long, and it's you know, I just go watch it. Trust me, it's a fun little TV special that you'll definitely get some enjoyment out of it.
He never finished dominating the planet he was on because he was kind-hearted, rather than because he never became stronger and couldn't be a combatant-type Saiyan. 34 and 33 would be the two Phantom Saiyans. There's slight debate to be had over this due to a Dragon Ball Tree of Might movie pamphlet set of power levels stating the Phantoms, sometimes referred to as Scarface and Shorty, are around 3,000. However, this would only be in the movie universe, as we know the movies are their own dimensions with their own sets of power levels. This will also explain why on the pamphlet there are many strange inconsistencies with it in the main series, such as Cybermen being at 1300 despite being stated 1200 many times in other guides, Bulma being stronger than Kid Goku, Nappa being at 4500 despite Toriyama stating he was at 4000, and Vegeta being at 16,000 despite him clearly being stated to be 18,000. In this case, the guide can't be used for the main continuity. However, if you want, you can say that their movie versions would be much higher. However,
yeah, see, here's the thing, and I've said this I don't know how many times on this channel, but if you're going to use anything as a source to back up whatever argument you're making, I would recommend just using the manga or whatever the original source material is, because, well, that and let's say like specific author statements, although even then that gets a little iffy, and I know that may sound weird because it's the author, you know, you'd think they'd know, but sometimes the author like can contradict themselves or specifically contradict what they already wrote in the original, you know, in the original source material. So when it comes to manga, I would say just reference the manga, okay? Like even with the anime, don't really reference it, because sometimes the anime will include things that actually kind of go against what the author was originally trying to convey to us, the readers, with the manga, you know, because sometimes the anime will make changes. So for me, I would say I will always say just reference the manga, because even here with guides, which you would think would be a pretty good source, even here they kind of like say things, you know, like what he just pointed out, like adult Bulma being stronger than Goku, which makes no goddamn sense. So yeah, that's why the guides are always a little bit iffy when it comes to trying to make whatever argument that you're making.
That would be
boring. And it's not just with Dragon Ball, but I've said this, you know, with Naruto, I'll say this with Bleach, I'll say this with One Piece, what else? One Punch Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, Black Clover, any series, just reference the manga, okay? Just do it. Trust me, it's the most accurate source of information that you can use.
As I want to present the idea of warrior classes in this video, and that is that the Phantoms are described as immature second-class warriors in Daizenshuu 7. This is in stark contrast and different from the wording such as low class and upper class, which I will go into soon. According to Kami as well, the Phantom Saiyans were also only half the strength of a full-fledged Saiyan warrior. Considering someone like Raditz is considered an upper-class warrior with similar status to Nappa, according to Toriyama, it's hard to say that they would rank above him. That being said, Raditz is number 32. Raditz is someone who was born at the lowest level of Saiyans, but eventually became an upper-class Saiyan with similar status to Nappa, plus the ability to join his team in the words of Toriyama, as I said earlier. And this has sparked a lot of debate on whether or not Raditz eventually became a mid-class Saiyan, as it is actually described that Saiyans can actually reach higher ranks depending on their battle power. If he did reach mid-class, that would actually mean that his powers more than likely surpassed Bardock's in Dragon Ball Minus, as that Bardock never actually acquired enough battle power to become a mid-class Saiyan, and is only ever described as upper ranked among the low class, but for this video, we're using Bardock from the special because he's a lot cooler, and it's far more concrete than the minus version. Regardless, Bardock from minus and Raditz would be debatable, as lame as that sounds, and this is coming from the guy with the Bardock profile picture, mind you. In minus Bardock's...
Well, that's actually a little bit interesting because Dragon Ball Minus was written by Toriyama, so weirdly enough, you could say that again, like, since it is written by the author, then that's technically the version that we should use in the main continuity, which I know continuity is a little bit weird now with, you know, with Super. So I guess in the main continuity you could say, like, from everything until the end of Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball manga, I mean, or the ending of Z. I would say that everything there is just that's like the main continuity. Everything after that for me is like a fun what if. Even Super and GT, everything after that is just like I just treat it as a what if I'm being honest. Even though the original author is involved, I think that it's probably a good idea to just say that the story ended there. That now that's just for me. If you guys feel differently, I completely understand, and that's fine. But for me personally, I just choose to see it as the story ended with the original Dragon Ball manga, and everything after that is just like, again, like I said, it's just a nice what if. Even if the original author is involved, it just becomes, because if you try to put it into the canon, it just gets a little confusing, especially considering all the retcons that either Super or even hell GT, I think even a little bit is a little bit weird.
Defense, it might be argued that the Daizenshu said that Raditz is the lowest level for a Saiyan, whereas Bardock is considered among the highest of the low class by Toriyama. It's a little bit difficult. In Class H, we have 31, the 10 mid-class Saiyans, as I said earlier. Toriyama once described that almost every Saiyan is a low class, except the 10 mid-class and the 2 elite Saiyans, King Vegeta and Prince Vegeta. If you consider the classes as something you can advance to by increasing your battle power, then these 10 mid-class would logically be above every low class. However, I'm not saying this is objective, as it's kind of confusing, as some would argue the classes are simply strength at your birth, but if they are strength based, then they would be above the low class Saiyans, such as how, despite Goku being clearly mid-class or higher in strength, he is still referred to as a low ranked class Saiyan by Vegeta even after defeating Nappa. Characters like Turles also seem to note that him and Goku are low class as well, despite their power levels reaching many tens of thousands. There's many things that could go into it for me to quickly just sum it up for you guys, so take it as you will and decide for yourselves whether or not you think the mid-class by default scale above the low class. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, and 25 are difficult because they would be Nappa, Shugesh, Fasha, Borgos, Tora, and Paragus. In terms of the pecking order of Bardock's team, outside of Bardock, Tora is considered the strongest as he survived the longest against Team Dodoria, Borgos the second strongest, then Fasha, and then Shugesh, as Shugesh is the only one to be damaged in the battle on Kanasa. If we use Dragon Ball Cardos power levels, this order drastically changes though, with Fasha only having a power level of 2000, Shugesh 4000, Borgos 4200, and Tora 5000. These cards are questionable in terms of their earlier. Toriyama wants to...
Sorry, I just need to check something real quick.
Considered among the highest of the low class by Toriyama. It's a little bit difficult. In Class H, we have 31, the 10 mid-class Saiyans, as I said earlier. Toriyama once described that almost every...
Oh, the 10 mid-class Saiyans that he's... So okay, so it wasn't Bardock. Oh yeah, I got a little confused because why would he put Bardock below these two? Because he destroyed the gang that destroyed them, so it's a little bit weird.
Shugesh, as Shugesh is the only one to be damaged in the battle on Kanasa. If we use Dragon Ball Cardos power levels, this order drastically changes though, with Fasha only having a power level of 2000, Shugesh 4000, Borgos 4200, and Tora 5000. These cards are questionable in terms of their ability to determine these types of things and how valid they are, and it would be slightly strange if Fasha was only half as strong as Shugesh due to the battle on Kanasa and the damage taken. Nappa, of course, has a power level of 4000, and Paragus has a power level level of 4200. But with Nappa, there's more to be considered. This is, of course, Nappa possibly increasing his power against Goku beyond just 4000. As everyone knows, Goku's power in the Saiyan arc is over 8000 in base form, yet when calm and reformed, Vegeta thinks that Nappa's battle against Goku will be long and drawn out, and Nappa still seems confident in fighting him, and Goku has to use Kaioken to catch up to him and be fast enough before he kills Gohan and Krillin later, rather than simply blitzing him like an 8000 to 4000 should do and was shown at first. This wouldn't be shocking, as we know Saiyans do in fact increase their strength during battle, even midway, so if this was the case, it wouldn't be inconsistent. But once again, that whole chunk of fighters is very debatable, which I'll leave up to you guys, which is why we make classes, by the way. Another point for Team Bardock's defense, characters like Borgos and Tora could even survive some attacks from Team Dodoria, despite Team Dodoria being somewhat strong enough to damage Bardock, who was having a power level on the verge of 10,000. However, we aren't exactly sure how hard Team Dodoria even tried against the team. For the time being, though, I'd put the order as Nappa, the hypothetical power-up, then Tora, then Paragus or Borgos, with Fasha and Shugesh being kind of debatable. And if you don't consider the power-up valid still and you want the ranking for that, he's more than likely weaker than most of Team Bardock from the special. As you've probably figured out by now, we reached Class G, which are the elite level Saiyans, consisting of Bardock and King Vegeta. Now, not to say Bardock is an elite Saiyan, just has his power level similar to such. This is a curious debate, as Bardock reaches a power level of around 10,000, but one thing to note is that it's stated in Daizenshu that King Vegeta is stated the strongest Saiyan of the time, so really any argument that can be made for Bardock seems to almost be tossed aside by the statement. There's also a lot of misconceptions saying King Vegeta's power level is 10,000, which is never stated in the sub of the special,
no,
and even in the dub.
Yeah, no, it was never stated anywhere that his battle power was 10,000. I don't know where people got that from.
This is implied. It's only stated that Bardock might eventually surpass the king at the rate he's going. The only argument that can be made is that Bardock attains possibly another Zenkai after being blasted by Dodoria, and that King Vegeta dies before Bardock, thus Bardock simply surpasses him after he dies, and the strongest statement applies for his time regardless. This seems like a lot of gymnastics, though, and the post-Dodoria Zenkai, which more than likely did happen, quantifying it to King Vegeta is just headcanon. So this puts King Vegeta in the 23rd place and Bardock in the 24th, but it's okay if you think it's the other way around. As I said, it's debatable, but if you consider Bardock going Super Saiyan still valid or a continuation to the special version and on its own fan spin-off, then Bardock easily...
Yeah, no, I don't see it as that. It's stupid. None of it made any goddamn sense.
He takes number 24, and actually...
And the whole thing about how Bardock is apparently the one who inspired the fear of the Super Saiyan and Frieza's family was just... No, I'm sorry, I like Bardock, but that was just stupid fanfiction bullshit.
Makes it debatable whether he can beat number 23. In Class F, we have Turles. Turles in base was able to hold his own against Goku, who had a power level of 30,000, although he was losing, far exceeding the likes of King Vegeta and base Bardock respectively. But Turles eats from the Tree of Might, a divine tree that amps him exponentially, and with this, he is easily able to destroy Goku, who actually activates Kaioken times 10, meaning Turles' battle power more than likely far exceeds even 300,000 with just a...
Hold on, and the movie pamphlet is stated Goku has a power level of 10,000, so he may have reached 30,000 with the use of Kaioken times 3, and it just wasn't noticeable. However, this movie pamphlet, also includes other movies such as World's Strongest, and it isn't inherently the Goku who fought Turles, as it sort of contradicts the movie, especially when you factor in that Goku's Kaioken, even in a quick burst, was visible against Turles' henchmen, but no aura appeared against Turles.
A little nibble of a fruit taken, which he doesn't even eat the whole thing, he literally just nibbled it. Later, Turles eats an entire fruit.
Well, maybe that's kind of...
One nibble made him go anywhere between 19,000 using the pamphlet or 30,000 to 300,000.
Sorry, it's been a while since I've seen the movie.
Eating an entire fruit, and this is why I say it's debatable whether Super Saiyan Bardock for episode of Bardock is actually stronger than him or not, as of course, Bardock would more than likely be 10,000, his power level times 50 for Super Saiyan, and be around 500,000 plus, and you could also argue Bardock had Zenkais and is above that, but you could also easily argue that Turles is way above 500,000 as well. I've seen some try to downplay Turles by saying Goku absorb the energy from the fruit, so we don't know how much energy he actually got when he ate the whole thing. However, this is also half true, as Turles himself can tell when Goku actually starts absorbing the energy from the fruits nearby, and doesn't acknowledge them acting strange until he's actually already finished one. So I'll leave that debate up to you guys again in the comments. And yes, the movies do take place in another universe, so 30,000 could be way different for all we know in that universe. But for this video, we're simply going to equate 30,000 to its main timeline value for simplicity. At number 21, we have Super Saiyan Yamoshi. This one is slightly headcanon-y, but hear me out. There's two ways to look at this. Either A, Yamoshi is a rather weak Saiyan with a huge Super Saiyan power-up, or B, Yamoshi is a rather strong Saiyan with a huge Super Saiyan power-up. In Vegeta's versions of the Super Saiyan was not only just a Super Saiyan, but a golden great ape capable of soloing the entire Saiyan race by itself. It's heavily implied that he's an incredibly powerful Saiyan, but not so overpowered that he can't be defeated. At the same time, though, it is also implied that there were so many enemies that Yamoshi would tire himself out despite being able to more than likely one-shot any Saiyan at the time, even if you downplayed his power level. Yamoshi also started a rebellion with just he and 5 other Saiyans, and was capable of going Super Saiyan to begin with, and in Daizenshu, when referring to Super Saiyan, it actually states that anybody with a high battle power above the standard level can become a Super Saiyan, and of course Toriyama adds that it's also due to S cells and anger or so on. So it's safe to say that
I it's actually, I remember when the whole S cell thing came out, like a lot of people just didn't buy it. Like a lot of people, well, okay, I won't speak for anyone else, but for me personally, to me it just felt like the whole S cell thing was just kind of a response to the fact that a lot of people really did not like the fact that like characters like Kefla and, well, Kefla I guess you can kind of excuse it, but characters like, what's her name, Caulifla, was just able to go, you know, Super Saiyan so easily, and then later on Super Saiyan 2 like it was nothing. People just were not a fan of that, especially when you remember how much it took to, you know, for the characters that we know like Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and the rest to essentially gain that level of power, or gain that power up. Like they had to be really pissed off in order to, you know, trigger the transformation. But with her, it was just focus your energy on your back or whatever, and boom, you just become Super Saiyan. And then I remember the episode, I can't remember which, was it like episode 98 or something, episode 99 of Dragon Ball Super, where, yeah, I think it was episode 99 where Goku fought Caulifla for the first time, and he like she even told him, was like, is it the same as the whole back thing, like you just focus on your back? And then Goku said, yeah, it's something like that. And at the time I thought, okay, so you're telling me you knew about this the whole time and you never thought to maybe tell Vegeta or Gohan, especially when you were training him in the time chamber, you never thought to tell him, hey, just focus on your back and you'll be able to become Super Saiyan. Apparently if you do it more, you'll be able to go Super Saiyan 2 and eventually out of Super Saiyan 3, which would have become, or which would have been really useful against Cell, because they would have been able to just destroy him easily, like right from the beginning. Instead, you had him go through the whole getting angry, and then you pit him against Cell, and you had Cell nearly kill him to try to trigger the transformation. When all this time, you could have just told him, focus on your back, and you would have, you know, gotten no problem. Would have saved your son a lot of trouble. Yeah, I still remember that whole thing. I didn't buy it then, and I still don't buy it, because yeah, it still didn't explain how she was able to just do it out of nowhere. So yeah, but then again, it's kind of par for the course for Toriyama. Like, he just makes shit up as he goes along. So yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that or not, or I don't know if you were paying attention to Dragon Ball Super at the time. So I don't know if you remember the interview when it eventually came out.
He was more than likely exceptional, given the fact that he also may have been a Golden Uzaru. He'd probably be insane. If you say he had a battle power of around 10,000 and then you multiply it by 50, it'd be similar to Super Saiyan Bardock's case, but if you multiply it by 50 and then by 10 again for Golden Uzaru, it reaches more of the 5 million range. He, of course, could have just been a decently powerful combatant, possibly weaker than King Vegeta. Then with his 50 times multiplier, he could just beat anybody. That's why I say this placing is somewhat headcanon, but he's at least in the same class F as Turles, give or take. Tarbell could that also go around in Class F depending on how strong you think Abo and Kato are, as it's implied in the Abo and Kato fight that Goten and Trunks have forgotten basic fundamentals of ki combat, but you might be able to argue that they are still extremely powerful, with Abo and Kato wearing them out. Of course, Abo and Kato are stronger than Turles, so Turles versus the duo would probably be like a future Trunks versus the android situation, but probably much worse. It also depends if you think that they have a power level near 530,000, as Turles said that they are around Frieza, and the universe knows Frieza by his first form strength, so if that's the case, Turles with the ball fruit eaten and Super Saiyan Bardock probably spank him, otherwise he'd be kind of OP. Numbers 20 and 19 are Goten and Trunks. In Dragon Ball Super Bonus Chapter 4, Goten and Trunks are actually shown fighting against Cell Juniors, who Android 17 stated were on par with the ones from the Cell games. We'll be using this argument for them because there are complications when it comes to Buu Saga, Goten and Trunks, and their scaling to Gotenks. That would make this video too dragged out. So for the meantime, we're going to be using the they got rusty and thought Cell Juniors were impressive argument for this video. During the
I remember this. I wasn't a fan of the fact that well, this is a little bit confusing because he calls them like pseudo Cell Juniors, and he says that they're like the 7 Cell Juniors who Gohan destroyed. So I don't know, like, yeah, if these are the same Cell Juniors and not just like manufactured by 17, then yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of that, because it kind of takes away what Gohan was able to like that feat of strength from Gohan. So if they are just like, if he created them himself, like, which I don't know how he would have been able to do so, but yeah. But here's the thing, like, if he says that they're all just as strong as they were back in the artificial humans are during the Cell games, then yeah, Goten and Trunks should be destroying them. Like, they should not have any trouble against them whatsoever, especially in Super Saiyan.
Android 17 stated were on par with the ones from the Cell games. We'll be using this argument for them because there are complications when it comes to Buu Saga, Goten and Trunks, and their scaling to Gotenks. That would make this video too dragged out. So for the meantime, we're going to be using the they got rusty and thought Cell Juniors were impressive argument for this video. During the Buu Saga, Goten was considered as strong as Gohan in Daizenshu and trained even harder for Super Buu, on top of being a super ultra tailless prodigy, even greater than Gohan. However, in Son Goku and Friends Return, it's implied Goten and Trunks.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really use that argument anymore, because I think that kind of went away, or maybe, I don't know, maybe like the writers just forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, for me it's interesting because I've always seen like Kid Trunks and Goten as more like gag characters, because in the Buu arc, a lot of people kind of noticed that Toriyama kind of went back to his you know, the way he used to write before, where everything's just done for a gag. Like, even the whole Goten and Trunks going Super Saiyan immediately was all just done for a joke, because it's like, oh well, Goku has Super Saiyan, Vegeta has Super Saiyan, Gohan has Super Saiyan, we know Trunks in the future apparently has Super Saiyan. It's kind of like a Super Saiyan isn't what it used to be, where it used to be like this you know, special transformation. So a lot of people like kind of pointed out that, you know, Goten and Trunks right now is just like is Toriyama kind of playing into the joke. It's kind of like what Toriyama's kind of doing now with the most recent movie. I won't say what happens, although by the time you guys see this video, I'm pretty sure the movie will have already been out in the US and in a lot of countries in the world. So I'm pretty sure most people have already seen it, so it's not necessarily a spoiler. But just in case there's someone watching this who doesn't know, he kind of does that again in that movie. If you see the movie, you'll know what I mean. And if you're someone who, let's say, saw the movie before, or at least knows what happened, then you know what I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and continue.
Somewhat forgot key basics in training, and they aren't as up to date as they were before, thus eventually leading them to thinking Cell Juniors are impressive. You can definitely argue they're stronger with a few things in the Buu Saga, but like I said, too contentious for now. I don't want to argue or have debates about whether or not Goten could beat Super Perfect Cell. Like, my comment section will not like that one. So Cell Juniors obviously scale above the likes of the androids. They were able to rough up Super Saiyan Grade 2 Vegeta back in the day, scaling above the likes likes of Frieza, Yamoshi, Abo, and Kaido's base forms, etc. Also, the Cell Juniors would also go in that area. I actually forgot to give them a number for this video, but yeah, they would go there. Number 18 is Super Perfect Cell. Obviously, he's far superior to Cell Juniors. He probably would one-shot them based on his scaling to Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Not really much else to say. Even if you said he's not Super Saiyan 2 Gohan level and only like half his strength, or, you know, enough to make Gohan consider him impressive, like, he would one-shot the Cell Juniors. It's pretty standard.
Okay, this is interesting. So he's including Cell, but this is okay. So is it because Cell actually has like you know, Saiyan DNA in him, so he's technically, I guess you could say he counts? Okay, I mean, if you count Goten and Trunks, who are technically half Saiyan, so I guess, yeah, all you would technically need is like Saiyan blood to be considered a Saiyan. So all right, I mean, okay, I can understand that.
In Class D, we have number 17 and 16, which consist of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks and Super Buu Gohan Absorb. These are also self-explanatory, but basically for those that are just
yeah, because he absorbed Gohan and Goten and Trunks. Okay, yeah.
Scales to Super Buu's base form, which far exceeds even the likes of Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta. This is due to the fact that Majin Vegeta lost to Fat Buu, whom Super Buu is stated to be stronger than. Super Buu Gohan Absorbed is obviously just Super Buu, who is rivaling Gotenks, plus Gohan, who is stated to be even stronger than both of them. So, kind of obvious. Class C. This is where everyone on the internet will find a place to get mad and will probably be
the king of... Oh, I think you meant to say Sadala. Goes here, but the audio messed up. All right.
A very annoying part of this video for many, many reasons. So, for my sanity's sake, please understand, I will be very, very soft on this part of the video. I'm going to give multiple ways you can rank them and let you guys choose for yourself, okay? Just for my sanity. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, we have a pretty simple one, though. Number 14 is Renso. So, we don't actually know the exact strength of him, but we can actually give him enough of a general idea to say that he's probably this high on the list, if not higher. Renso is the one who trained Kabe and is actually considered very powerful by him. Even after Kabe faced Universe 7, he thought that Renso would actually be able to help them. He is also related to Caulifla and is considered a very advanced Saiyan. Even if you say he's relative to base Kabe, which is very generous, he would scale to Class C. Of course, base Kabe actually scales to base Vegeta during the Universe 6 tournament. Base Vegeta and base Goku both surpassing Super Saiyan God Goku from Battle of Gods or the Battle of Gods arc, and this is stated numerous times during the fight with Beerus, confirming that Goku made the Super Saiyan God ritual his own power, and Goku couldn't even tell that he wasn't a god power-wise, even when he is a Super Saiyan later. Despite the fact that we know that Goku can tell when he's moving drastically faster or slower, such as when he stumbled around when he first attained God, yet was unfazed when it ran out. The episode is even titled, Goku Surpassed the Super Saiyan God, with Beerus, the narrator, and everything else just stating how he has the same level of power he did as a god, but with his normal ki. He then surpasses the Super Saiyan state stated to have surpassed God in his base form later in the same fight when he breaks his limits again, and this is to show Beerus, no one determines my limits, and he punches a giant death ball, right? Obviously, Super Saiyan God was a level of power that Goku didn't even think could exist, and put him on a level of power that he didn't even think the Katara earrings could give him at the time. This is possibly due to the Super Saiyan God ritual giving him an immense multiplier, as Goku, even with just the ki of the other Saiyans as a Super Saiyan, was considered stronger than anything he's ever done before. So it can be considered that the ritual God is a tad different than just transforming into a god. But regardless, Goku then eventually surpasses this ritual. Once again, in Renso's scaling to Kabe's case, I'm not saying that it is objective that he does scale to him, but it is very likely. Alright, now on to the bad part. The bad part is this group here, which is Super Saiyan 2 Caulifla, Super Saiyan 2 Kabe, Super Saiyan 2 Kale, Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black, and Super Saiyan Rage Future Trunks. So, many power scalers know where this is going. The debate—
Hold on, so really Super Saiyan Rose is stronger than Kale and Caulifla? I don't know. Well, I mean, I guess I can kind of see it, because like Kale and Caulifla never, like, they tried to fight Super Saiyan God Goku and they got destroyed, and it wasn't until they fused that they were able to fight against him. So, but then again, that Goku would technically be stronger than the Goku who fought Goku Black, so I don't know. And well, I guess you could say that Goku was still not at 100% when he was in that fight, so you could say that the fact that they couldn't even beat Goku in Super Saiyan God when he wasn't even at 100% should be a good indicator that maybe they're not up to you know, Goku Black's power level in Super Saiyan Rose. Although with the Super Saiyan, whatever the hell this is, with Trunks, I forget its name. I think it was like Super Saiyan Ikari or something like that, or Super Saiyan Rage or whatever. I don't know. It's a dumb form. I'm sorry, but whatever it is, I don't know if I would put him above Goku Black, because like even after Trunks transformed, he was able to fight him, but then Super Saiyan Rose was still able to like take him out. Like even when he transformed, he wasn't able to win against him.
It comes down to whether or not their feats in the Tournament of Power surpasses the Goku Black arc, and while you can probably say Kefla more confidently does, the individual Saiyans are much more complicated. So I will write this out as simply as possible. Kale and Caulifla only surpass the Black arc Saiyans if and only if you believe Super Saiyan 2 Kefla is stronger than Vegito Blue. So let me explain. In terms of feats, Caulifla and Kale are very strange in the sense that Fatigued Goku can actually take on both of them at the same time. Earlier in the arc, we saw Kale kind of manhandle Goku and Blue. However, you can argue maybe Goku might have not been going all out, or maybe you believe Goku got stronger later. These types of questions are what make things difficult to...
Well, it's interesting because in that episode, it's like she like fought him, but Goku like never really took it all that seriously. He even like later on in the episode, he even just gets out of the rubble and says, "Oh man, you're pretty strong," and he's just laughing it off, and he shows, or you can see that there's barely any damage on Goku. So yeah, you could say that maybe Goku wasn't really taking that fight seriously, and maybe he was still kind of conserving his strength for Jiren. But yeah, them being stronger than Vegito Blue, I don't necessarily think so. I think that Vegito Blue is just one of those characters that's like, you know, kind of like really powerful and supposed to be one of those top tier characters, even though you could say that that was still a fusion from Goku and Vegeta from the Black, or excuse me, a fusion of Goku and Vegeta from the Black arc, excuse me, kind of misspoke. Again, that's the thing when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, is that it's kind of difficult to rank the characters because there's a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, because a lot of it really like barely any of it is made like explicitly clear. Like, okay, yeah, Ultra Instinct Goku is stronger than Kale and Caulifla. Like, that's an obvious statement. I don't think anyone can really dispute that. But even then, in the Tournament of Power alone, you've got like 3 different versions of UI Goku. You've got UI Goku who fought against Jiren for the first time. You have UI Goku who went against Kefla, or yeah, Kefla, I think that's her name. I said Kefla before, it's Kale. I meant to say Super Saiyan 2 Kale. And then you have UI Goku who fought against Jiren again, who had a more refined form of UI. And then of course you've got Mastered UI who fought against Jiren, who was able to dominate at the beginning, and then Jiren started to win again, and then Goku managed to get another power up and he was able to you know, beat Jiren again. So even in the TOP alone, there's like 4 different versions of UI Goku, and I think you can safely say that all of them beat Kale and Caulifla. Kefla, however, is a little difficult because there was a statement, I think if I remember correctly, where in I think it was in episode, it was either episode 115 or 116, one of the two, where they say that Kefla, after powering up, reached the level that Goku showed in his fight against Jiren, although they never specify whether it's Blue Kaioken Goku or UI Goku. I don't know. Let's continue.
Say matter-of-factly about their scaling. Fatigued Goku, when he did fight the two, was so fatigued he initially couldn't even go Super Saiyan. And this is insane because later we see fatigued Goku fight again, but actually have a gauge for how tired his power will make him, or how his power will be affected by his energy level. Goku, when he still has enough energy to go Super Saiyan God, is actually weaker than Super Saiyan Vegeta when he is against Aniraza. This is Goku after limit breaking and growing probably much stronger, but once again he is too fatigued to show it. As a reminder, Vegeta has had no big fights or limit breaking moments quite yet, at best only having a brief scuffle with Toppo where neither really damaged each other, at least for the long term. So imagine now you have Goku who's too tired to even go Super Saiyan 1, let alone Super Saiyan God, and that's the Goku that fought Kale and Caulifla. In essence, it might even be possible to say that the energy Goku used on the two, even in his God God state, which even then he looked heavily suppressed on top of that due to his demeanor, wasn't even comparable to Super Saiyan Vegeta at full power due to this. This is what makes scaling the two janky. But if you say Kefla is stronger than Vegito Blue using things like the Spirit Bomb scaling, then it might be possible to put them above the Black Arc individual Saiyans more concretely. The Spirit Bomb scaling is basically the idea that when Jiren exerted force and deflected his Universe 7 Spirit Bomb back onto Goku, all of the gods began to jerk him off, saying he was the mortal who surpassed the gods, how could any one fighter be so strong, blah blah blah. But in these statements is a statement from the Supreme Kai Shin, who insinuates that he's never felt strength like this from anybody they faced before, including Majin Buu, and more importantly, Zamasu. Zamasu, who in the anime was strong enough to actually put scratches and put up a fight against Vegito Blue. So if Kefla, who even as a Super Saiyan could deliver as much force as the Spirit Bomb, which surpassing made you stronger than everyone.
Yeah, that's the statement I was talking about.
Or near Vegito Blue, right? And if so, then if Kefla is only in Super Saiyan 2 and Vegito is in Super Saiyan Blue, then Kale and Caulifla would be stronger naturally than Goku and Vegeta in their blue states in the Black Arc, or base to base. The only issue now, though, is that it might be possible that this statement is exaggerated and can be interpreted a different way. The other interpretation of this statement, which is this power is different than anything we've ever faced before, blah blah, is actually in reference to the reserves of Jiren's power rather than his actual current power he is exerting. This isn't far-fetched due to the fact that Beerus and all of the other gods reference Jiren's lack of effort and hidden strength still remaining when he deflected the attack, which convinced them he was the mortal that surpassed the gods. So if they are able to sense the inner depth of his powers, then they could simply make the calculation that he's stronger than Merge Zamasu when using more of his ability, rather than the actual level of ability he used on Goku being what's more powerful. This level of sensing isn't foreign to Dragon Ball either, and it's not something not even only the gods can do. Korin during the Cell Saga was actually able to assess how powerful Cell was compared to Goku, even when they were both heavily suppressed, Cell in particular just standing around and waiting like a statue, and Korin's analysis was correct. So if Shin also shared a similar level of key insight, once again, it wouldn't be surprising. The only problem with this though is that if this interpretation is true, then Vegito Blue gets a fat power scaling amp and is much harder to scale. It also makes scaling Universe 6 a lot more annoying. In an interview, Fusion Zamasu was stated to be a cheat character that had unrivaled strength and abilities, even when Beerus was mentioned earlier. Some would say that Beerus was removed from the equation of strongest fighters, however this did not include fusions to begin with, and some argue that the statement in the interview is different because it says for Dragon Ball rather than individual fighters of the arc, implying possibly the whole show from what we know. In the manga and in V-Jump, Vegito Blue is then considered to be on par with Beerus, who is stated to be a god of destruction with the highest level of battle power in the Broly info cards. If you sort of mismatch some lore here and imply that Vegito Blue and Zamasu being Beerus tier characters is the author's intent, then their rank skyrockets alongside the Spirit Bomb downplay, of course. In this case, Beerus isn't sure he's being surpassed into the end of the Tournament of Power when Ultra Instinct finally appears, in which we also get confirmation that Jiren, who Goku does surpasses all of the gods of destruction. This would also put Vegito Blue much higher than Kefla and put him into A tier. If we use this version, it might be possible to still argue that characters like Goku Black and Future Trunks still can surpass the Universe 6 Saiyans without much contention due to a lack of feats, with Gohan scaling higher than them by default due to scaling higher than Fatigue Super Saiyan God and rivaling Golden Frieza and Super Speed Dispo. I've seen some people try to downplay Gohan by saying that Dispo is trapped inside Frieza's laser cage. However, this cage actually has a lot of room, surprisingly, and we actually see Gohan blatantly catch Dispo's punches that were blitzing Goku and giving Hit an insanely hard time, even while nerfed in base. So the debate is mainly Goku Black and Future Trunks versus the Universe 6 Saiyans rather than Gohan, but for this video, I'll leave what I said up in the air and let you guys decide. Number 6 on the list in Class B is Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Of course, he is number 4 if you consider Kefla stronger than Vegito Blue and Zamasu though, with Vegito Blue and Zamasu being either 6 and 5 or 5 and 4. This is mainly due to the fact that even with the Kefla wank, it's insanely hard to say that Kale and Caulifla even remotely rival the Spirit Bomb individually due to the fact that Super Saiyan Kefla's kicks are compared to it, let alone the base parts of the fusion. The reason Vegeta is higher than Kefla is mainly due to the fact that Vegeta becomes insanely powerful as the tournament goes on. I outlined these insane increases that range from the many thousands in my How Strong is Ultra Instinct video, which I think we did react to, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, if I did react to it, I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video if you're interested in checking that out.
Recommend, by the way, but I'll bring up some of my newer arguments and optos here. But a very easy way to look at it is just the final flash that Vegeta uses on Jiren. The energy from the final flash has many statements around it that amp Vegeta immensely even before he obtains Evolution Blue. For one, when Vegeta first starts fighting Jiren, he says he's never felt an energy as heavy and strong as this before, meaning he feels what he's fighting is above Kefla. And if you consider Vegeta able to remember things that happened when he was Vegeta Blue, he considers this Jiren to be stronger than Fusion Zamasu as well. Of course, this argument that you can tell he suppressed is still valid. However, there's many different arguments here than just the Spirit Bomb. The first is that Vermod is insanely baffled by Vegeta's ability as a Saiyan to grow so powerful. Android 17 and even Ultimate Gohan are shocked at this level of ability, and even Beerus is quite confident in this final flash against Jiren despite knowing Jiren can easily deflect the Spirit Bomb. Jiren then actually blocks the final flash and is put on the ground and says the force of the attack wasn't half bad, something he doesn't even credit Omen Goku, who surpasses the Spirit Bomb plus Kaioken times 20 to begin with. This is all lined by Vegeta getting insanely amped after trying to learn how to fight Jiren, and it's stated numerous times. Due to Vegeta's demeanor, it seems that he was more than likely doesn't know the limits of Jiren's maximum strength, just like Goku didn't know.
You know, I keep forgetting that there were some shots in...
That he was more than likely
yeah, there were some shots like this where the way they drew Goku was just really weird.
Doesn't know the limits of Jiren's maximum strength, just like Goku didn't know when he launched the bomb either. But even without that, it's very easy to argue that his final flash surpasses the Spirit Bomb and Super Saiyan Kefla. Then with Evolution, which is confirmed a 20 times multiplier on par with Goku's Blue Kaioken by the directors, it's very simple to put Evolution Vegeta above Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, and quite possibly even Vegeta Blue if you don't use the Vegeta Blue is equal to Beerus arguments, which in all honesty might only apply to the manga. Now we reach Class A, and the reason Vegeta Blue and Merge Zamasu, if they're as strong as Beerus, would go here is because we know that Vegeta is actually stated to not be on par with the Gods of Destruction quite yet without fusing. So in this case, anyone who is would more than likely be more powerful. This gets pretty contentious though, and just let me say flat out again and again, we cannot answer who is stronger between Class A objectively. The only one that's pretty clear cut is obviously Gogeta is stronger than Broly, but how Ultra Instinct Goku scales to the Broly movie is very vague.
Yeah, we don't know
in the future to fully learn the answer. We know that Broly is compared to
I don't think we even know.
Possibly stronger by Goku, and Gogeta manhandles him pretty hard.
I mean,
funny enough, actually,
you could say that UI Goku from the Granola arc would obviously be able to beat Broly, but we don't know how UI Goku in this time would be able to do against him.
I've heard some arguments that Broly is stronger than Gogeta, but Gogeta was just faster, which is why he damaged him. Obviously, this is nonsense, as Gogeta not only is able to block Broly's attacks at first and just Super Saiyan, but later on they have many fist and energy clashes, and that Gogeta just straight up overpowers and slams Broly away all the time, getting to the point he can draw blood from Broly and damage him to the point he can barely stand, while not even really trying the whole time. With Ultra Instinct Goku, we know that he scales far above base Jiren. Base Jiren is stated in many guides to blatantly surpass the Gods of Destruction. Funny enough, people use the guide where Beerus questions if Goku surpassed him with Ultra Instinct, even though Ultra Instinct wasn't actually at full power quite yet, to downplay Jiren, but they seem to fail to realize that right next to this, on literally the same scan, there is a statement that talks about Jiren's strength objectively outside of Beerus's opinion, which says, the warrior called Universe 11's strongest warrior, who put himself through bloody training from a young age. He lightly exercises his power that exceeds the Gods of Destruction and overwhelms Goku. Ultra Instinct Goku in both the anime and manga promotional material stated to be a power that surpasses the Gods of Destruction, and blah blah blah. There's many of these. I could point out more and more. The problem though is that Jiren gets even stronger than this, to the point that Goku, who could fondle the beyond God Destruction Jiren like Gogeta did Janemba, can actually fight Goku again and even blast him away. But then we have a new statement that confirms Ultra Instinct Goku only gets more powerful as it actually fights, and then Goku gets to the point where he actually destroys Jiren without any difficulty. So you kind of have a list that goes the Gods of Destruction, then Jiren, then Ultra Instinct, then Hidden Power Jiren, and then Ultra Instinct again. So there's a few levels of bullying past the Gods of Destruction, and that's why the statement Broly is possibly stronger than Beerus isn't really holding so much oomph per se. I've had a lot of debates on this topic, and it gets into a lot of weird guide territory and semantics, and I don't want to make this a Broly versus Goku video, but I'll say in my own professional opinion that this debate is more so Gogeta versus Ultra Instinct Goku than Broly Broly. So who do you guys think should be number 1? Really depends on that matchup. Of course, Broly versus Jiren is more so a debate than Goku versus Broly.
I don't think we need to get into that debate.
I think I would like to see you guys talk about Gogeta versus Goku in the comments. I'm really interested. Anyways, guys, that's generally my list. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of toxicity from this video, even though I was very generous. I was very calm. I just said, hey, you know, you guys decide. So if anyone gets too mad, I don't know, it'd be kind of weird. But I mean, we're talking about Dragon Ball fans who don't care about context. I mean, joking, kinda. Besides that, sorry for not including literally every Saiyan in reality, like Onyo and whatever, but just know that Timebreaker Bardock slaps everyone on the list. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
So I think that's the video. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, that's the I think that's one of the problems with Dragon Ball Super is because, or one of the problems with Dragon Ball Super is they kind of leave a lot of things vague. Like they don't really clarify certain things, and they'll make statements that just kind of make you even more confused. It's like, okay, so he brought up the whole, you know, Broly versus Jiren. I think that's something people have talked about before. Honestly, I don't know who would win between the two. I mean, we know that the Goku and Vegeta he fought were stronger than the Goku and Vegeta in the TOP, but do they scale to UI Goku? We don't know, because Goku at that time still hadn't you know, gotten control of Ultra Instinct. He even said so at the end of the anime. So we don't really know. I mean, a lot of people have theorized that if Goku went Ultra Instinct in that, you know, fight, then he would have been able to win. But who knows? I mean, Broly could have just done what he'd been doing all throughout the movie, where the longer the fight goes, the stronger he gets. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like with Gogeta, he was able to finish the fight a lot quicker, and he was at the point where he was much stronger than Broly, where he could, let's say, extend the fight a bit without getting to the point where Broly would end up catching him in power and be able to completely overwhelm him. At least that's kind of how I saw it. Either that, or it just never happened because the plot. I mean, who knows? Which tends to happen with movies. You know, sometimes the movie just needs to end, so they'll kind of just forget what they kind of established earlier. I mean, hell, you could say Broly getting stronger conveniently throughout the fight in such a short amount of time was mostly also due to just, you know, the plot needing it to happen. Although they did kind of establish that Broly was like a mutant, where he, like, his strength grows at a much higher, like at an abnormal rate compared to other Saiyans. So yeah, again, I'm not saying there's no explanation. It just feels like it's a plot convenient explanation. You know what I mean? Like, they just need a reason why Broly would be able to compete with like Blue Goku or Blue Vegeta. But anyway, he even said it himself. It's like, it's kind of contentious now. Remember, this video did come out in 2020. We do have more information now than we did before, so maybe it'll make it a bit easier to try and decide where everyone ranks in terms of power. But you know what, I want to ask you guys, like, where do you think these characters rank compared to each other when it comes to power? Do you think that Goku, Vegeta, Broly are definitely the strongest? I mean, I think so. Although, again, we don't know. Well, there's some information from the movie, but I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to spoil it, even though by now, or by the time you guys see this video, you definitely will have already seen the movie, at least I think, or at the very least you'll know what happened. So still, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And please, guys, if you do see this, when the video comes out and you have seen the movie, don't say anything in the comment section down below, because I don't want to, you know, spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie. So just be courteous, don't put any spoilers, or at least try to be as vague as possible. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I'll see you guys for my next one. Bye for now.